Hey guys, Matt here with MP Power Sports, and we are back today with part 6 of the CR500 build. Last video came out absolutely amazing, so we're going to dive right back into where we left off and continue the amazingness of this build. We're going to start right on that rear end, finishing up the rear brakes, hose, master cylinder, and all that good stuff. So without further ado, I'm going to shut up and we're going to get right into work. Fun fact, Tyler cannot snap. Exactly, there you go. So, snaps off for Tyler. But no, seriously, what we're gonna do starting off is basically removing this expansion chamber, because as much as it looks good and it looks nice, we're not done assembling things yet. So we're gonna take this off, put the wiring harness on, put the subframe air box, finish up the front brakes, bleed the rear and the front, tie everything together, do the handlebar controls, and hopefully we have the brakes bled, everything's working, and we can slap the gas tank on. So without further ado, let's take this off and let's get right back into it. All right, so we got the wiring harness on, and the last thing we have to do for the wiring harness is obviously the kill switch. We're also gonna start and go ahead and move on to the handlebars. So we're gonna start with the front brake master cylinder, and we got something that some of you may know, some of you may not know, but it's pretty cool. Obviously we got the master cylinder, we got ASV lever, but the cool thing is, I don't know if you guys heard of this, it's basically a cluster saver, so it saves up space on your handlebars. Tusk makes them, a bunch of other companies make them. It's basically a billet just clamp that goes onto your front brake lever or your clutch lever, and it also acts as a kill switch. If you guys don't like having too much clutter on your handlebars, definitely a buy. It's super simple to install, and it's pretty damn cheap. We're gonna go ahead, throw this on, get the front master cylinder installed, and then move on to the rest of the handlebars. So now with this installed, you got two wires. One's a female, one's a male connector. Obviously put dielectric grease on there for longevity of the connections, and you just plug it right in. It's that simple. So we're all plugged in. We're basically just gonna route the wires, zip tie it up so it's nice and sleek around the handlebars. Make sure it's not tugging when we turn left to right. And we'll move on to throttle assembly, left grip, and we got something special for you guys for the clutch. So let's finish this and I'll talk about that. So if you guys have ever ridden or have any experience being around a CR500, you understand that pulling that clutch in is a pain in the behind. So we decided to fix that for you, and we are throwing on this bad boy. This is the same brand that comes on a Husky. It's a Mugar clutch. It's the whole assembly. Comes with the perch, lever, and obviously the cylinder. So this is going to make your 500 feel like it's a KTM. It's going to be buttery smooth. You're not going to get crazy arm pump. You will get arm pump because it's a 500. But this will help out tremendously. Super excited to get this on to see how this feels over the traditional cable-driven clutch. So we're gonna install this right now, put the perch on, put the lever on, make sure everything's operating as it should, and then we'll move on. So we got everything done on the handlebars except the ending of the throttle cable, which is the throttle slide that goes obviously into the carburetor. So normally for the small little things that we vapor blast, we kind of leave that off film because you don't want to see everything getting vapor blast on this bike. But the carburetor is pretty ugly and we're going to want to see what's inside because that's important for jetting purposes and all that good stuff. So we're gonna now tear apart the carburetor and you can see it's not bad shape, but it's not good shape either. I already guessed that we have a little leak because it's wet around the bowl, so I'm guessing that gasket is torn and obviously we're gonna have to rebuild. We have a whole rebuild kit. We have a bunch of jets from the main jet, pilot jet, so even if you win it all the way in California, we'll have jetting kits for your elevation and riding styles. Without further ado, let's tear this thing apart. Let's vapor blast it, let's rebuild it, let's throw it on the bike. Alright, so we got a vapor blasted carburetor. As you can see, the thing looks brand new. When we took the carburetor apart, it wasn't nearly as bad as we thought. The jets weren't clogged, there was no gunk or anything inside the carburetor. It was actually super spotless. So we didn't show you all that boring stuff, so we vapor blasted it. We got the fresh jets, float needle, gasket, air mixture screw, all that good stuff to slap this carburetor together and make this complete. Now, for the CR500, the OEM stock size for the main jet is a 170 and the stock size for that pilot is a 55. We're going to keep that 55 in for the pilot jet for the time being, but we also do have a wide variety of pilot jets that we can swap out in there if it's not perfect when we start the bike up. As far as the main jet, stock size is 170. Since we overboard the motor and it has all the nice Tasteful add-ons, which is the reeds and the exhaust, we're going to beef that up and kind of increase the fuel intake. So we're going to throw a 180 on there. Again, we have a wide variety of ranges for main jets as well, so if we do need to do fine tuning, we will do that. So without further ado, let's slap this back together, get this mounted on the bike, and we'll see what we have next. Alright guys, so we rebuilt the carburetor, got that on, everything went super smooth. We put the airbox on, subframe. It's really looking like a bike right now. We're not done for part 6 just yet. We're going to take a break and chalk it up for tonight. We're going to catch you back tomorrow. We're going to finish up the front brake line, some small little things, and we'll catch you then. Alright guys, so it's a new day, which means another day working on this. We're going to jump right back into the swing of things. We're going to start with the front brake line, bleeding the front brakes and the rear brakes. We're going to move our way to the coolant system, get that pipe on, and that completes video 6. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright guys, so we bled the rear brakes, we bled the front brakes, so now this bike can actually stop. But this bike is still going to overheat if we leave it as is. So let's get into the coolant system. We'll start with the radiators, get the hoses hooked up, and then the pipe, and then we're finished. Alright guys, so we got the exhaust on, we finished up the coolant system, we filled it with engine ice, the best coolant you should throw on your bike, and this is what we have in front of us. Again, that concludes video 6. We will catch you for video 7. All we have left is the body. Plastic graphics, seat cover, and the first startup. So without further ado, I'm gonna quit here. It's late, Tyler's getting tired, I'm getting tired. I know you're tired of hearing my voice. We'll catch you next time for part 7. Without further ado, enjoy this bike and stay tuned. The next video is gonna be great. See ya. Pull me tight. I can't do that.